say to people who might think all of these people, they're just plain lazy. They need to go out, they're shiftless. They need to go out and work and get jobs and take care of themselves and feed their own families.
I want them to come work with me.
Yeah.
Come know these
I think
families.
people do try to get jobs. I mean, I think the stories are out there all over the place that people are, you know, who've always had a job, who are even people who are well educated and well skilled, have a really hard time finding a job. They're out of job for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and they start giving up hope. I mean, you see that all the time.
Yes.
I think that's pretty common knowledge. And if people say somebody's lazy, we say, well, you know, and then we at the food bank, we give examples all the time of people. I mean, that's part of our campaigns, you know, where we say, you know, look at this person, and, you know, and I mean, they agree to share their story, but there's lots of stories like that where people are working, or maybe they're injured, or maybe their father got ill and they had to quit work to take care of their father who has cancer, and that's a long-going illness and it drains the family's resources, and they just need some help. Most of the people are working, and in fact, a large number of people might even own their own home, or certainly are living in a nice home, but they just have run out of money, or run out of enough money to keep their family going.
Or when things were good, when things were good, they decided to refinance, and now the balloon payment is coming up.
Exactly.
So that's a huge component of that. So we've even had donors be like, well, they're driving up in this nice car. Well, at one point they did work, or they did have a good job, they did have a good income, and you know, we're not going to tell we're not going to tell them to go sell their car to put food on the table, you know, because anybody's hopes is, okay, I may be down right now, but I'm going to dust myself off and get back up. They don't intend to stay down. They want to be able to go on and be productive into the community.
Yeah.
And my experience has really been that it is a bridge. It's not a way of life. It is something that people, because they've suddenly become a single mother, or a lot of the things you've talked about, they've experienced a diagnosis, a new diagnosis of something, and they've taken a hit, and they need a bridge to get back on their feet. And I think that's what this country is good at, is providing that bridge in a pretty judgment-free way. And
that's interesting. I never knew that this country was great at providing people a bridge in a non-judgmental way, like all of the stereotypes, you know, of the people who are poor and being shiftless.
The food banks, I mean, these are
looking for handouts.
These are places that are serving, and it's a community funded for a large extent. There was a study that showed that 50% of children at some point during their childhood were served by food programs. So half of our nation's children at some point benefited from that.
Isn't it half the babies born have been on WIC, or the families have been on WIC?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a large percentage.
Half the babies born throughout the United States. And for our audience members who might not know what WIC is.
The Women, Infant, and Children Supplemental Food Program, which is also USDA funded, like CalFresh. And I think Lisa alluded to that earlier. It's food vouchers for pregnant women and their children under age 5.
And
it's
50% of American babies born?
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yes, it really is amazing. Now, that gets me into the idea of the safety net. And several presidents ago with Reagan, when there were lots of cutbacks, said, well, there is a safety net. And then it was thinking there were too many holes in the safety net and people were falling through. So how secure is the so-called safety net now? Is there enough for all those who need it?
From my observations in the two counties, and not just around food, but housing and everything, things are very cobbled together. And if you're somebody, talk about not being lazy, if you're somebody who's down on their luck, or you don't have enough money to live on, you have to cobble together some housing here, and maybe over here you get the first month's rent, and maybe you get CalFresh, but that's not enough for the month, so then you go to the pantry, you go to the soup kitchen, or you have a car, but it's getting low on ability to get you around, there's some problems with it, and you go to another program that can maybe maybe help you with some car repairs, but this is a lot. Or maybe you go to WIC, so you have to go to WIC and you fill out the forms, you go to nutrition education classes, all these pieces which are wonderful to help people, but it's really a cobbled together existence.
Sounds almost
of trying
like a
to do it.
full-time job. I'm trying to
Really.
search out
And that's where
all of the
community service
resources.
agencies come in handy, because they do pull that together for people, and they can say, you know, here's this.
Now, is there some giant database someplace that's collecting the information of who's on the rolls, who's using what services?
Not anything comprehensive. No, I mean, certainly we know who's getting CalFresh, for example, but we don't know if this person on CalFresh is also getting this, this, and this. I mean, it exists, obviously, especially if it's a federal program, then there is a database. Do they talk to each other? I don't think so.
With all of the cutbacks statewide and some cutbacks on the federal government level, are these programs being affected at all?
Absolutely. CalWORKs just got a big cut, and CalWORKs is the welfare to work program in this state. They got a big cut, and also the child care was eliminated, not completely eliminated, but greatly cut back. Well, you can't go to work if you have a child at home, if you don't have child care. So things like that have really been cut. And then, of course, then that affects, now those women have to pay for child care, which means they have less for food, which means they're going to be coming more to the food bank or ecumenical hunger program or other programs.
I think childcare is a big piece of it.
Big piece.
It's a big piece. It's expensive to do it well.
Yeah.
It's so critical. The early developmental years are so important for children, and
well, that's who you're leaving your precious child with all day,
It
and it
is.
has to be somebody that you trust, and it's safe, and they feed the kids, and it's clean, and all those
But
things.
you have to be
So-
making so much to make being away from the child make
Work.
any sense at all. Because if you're paying $10, $15 an hour for childcare,
Right.
you know, I mean,
What's
it's
the
really,
use of working?
Well, that's
this
it.
is the metric.
But
lot
it's
of
a
families-
requirement, certainly a requirement of CalWORKs that people work, even if it used to be that mothers of young children didn't have to work if they were the main caregiver, and they did away with that under President Clinton, and now they have to work. Okay, then they said, okay, we'll give you child care, but now they're taking away the child care. So they took away that they could stay home with their own children. They said, okay, we'll give you child care, but you have to work, and now we're not even going to give you child care. So
So is this a state decision, federal government decision?
this is Governor Brown's latest budget.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of family values and children being with their mothers.
Yeah,
That's not a great reflection in terms of that, is it?
And you know, I really see the community come together around this. A lot of informal childcare, so women in certain neighborhoods kind of work together to, you know, take shifts for each other and help take care of each other's children in more of an exchange sort of way. So I think that creative solutions come from the community.
Yes.
Now,